mistakes. Every error was a lesson learned. Now I don't move, let's see get approved. Won't take a step till it get confirmed. On the table, was made for our sakes. March like a tank. One step will make the ground shake. My people sick in their head, Lord, let this truth spread like an outbreak. Bring hell and the crackers can't escape. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I'm on payback for the scars in the slave memoirs. The Christ arrived, I can't let it slide. Ignore the lies. The only free will that's before your eyes. It's life or death, nigga, you decide. This heaven was made for me and my fellow. I'm patiently waiting with my eyes on the sparrow, and I pull the trigger while my lips kiss the barrel. Before I ever let a white bitch do me like Othello. I want out this wicked life like Revolts. By any means, this devil pulling strings like Geppetto. Lay hold on this brotherhood. I swear I never let go. And fuck that silver spoon, got too much love for the ghetto. Tell us gonna settle with BB, I die for the cause. Just to hear the angels of love. And I'm true about every word I say. Cause I know my victory on the way. Only nigga walk this way. This life may be hard, but I can't give up. On my nigga hard, and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with the makers. This life may be hard, but I can't give up. On my nigga hard, and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with the makers. Boy, I can't be touched. Can't do any glitters. They hate what they can't doubt us. We princes of the power, what you know about us? Evil all around us. But a nigga straight, I told you I can't be touched. Only angels walk at my pace. And I'm grateful for the words that had me delivered. I'm hungry for the glory, but I ain't eating till I feed my next. One West, what I die for. Attire out the book of numbers, this rifle from the Archangel Michael. My niggas rebels, you can't deny them. It's 144, I be running to and fro with the Allah higher. My I.S.U.P.K soldiers, ain't no folding, no pretending. We in it for the crowns, fuck friends, we want dominion. In the election ascension, I hope I make it through. Give a damn what a bitch think, as long as my niggas know I'm true. Betray your kind to get success. You make it through the eye of the steel, nigga. This life may be hard, but I can't give up. On my nigga hard, and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? Why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with your makers. Boy, I may be hard, but I can't give up. On my nigga hard, and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so good? It's real, I be walking with your makers. Boy, I can't be touched.
We live? Hey, Shalom, Israel, Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Baraka Thumb to all the brothers, Yahweh Shema Alathan Bashim Yahshua to all the sisters. This is the I.S.U.P.K Indianapolis, coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. We're bringing out the truth to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, teaching you the truth about the Bible, teaching you the truth about life, man. Without the I.S.U.P.K, you really don't know what your stance is in life. You don't know whether you should join together with the oppressor. You don't know whether you should be sad over the death of black people. You don't know a lot of things until we tell you. So the best thing to do is just get your ass in class, man, and stay in the school and be one with this one body of Christ.
Right.
All right. So today we're going to be going into one of my favorite topics, right? Slave revolts. I love to read about the history behind slave revolts and slaves, coming up and getting away, and Underground Railroad, all that. I love all those kind of stories. So we're gonna be going in that today. Before we go into that, if there's any questions, go ahead and type in your questions if you have any. We're gonna answer those questions. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and get going on the topic. So let me know if we got anything.
Naquan said, I love that too. Come on, Wakana.
Who said that? Kwambar?
Naquan.
Oh, Naquan, Most High in Christ. Yeah. Some of my, damn sure one of my favorite topics. And we're going to get into some specific ones if we got time. It's 3 in this book. I'm gonna bring out the book if there's no question for sure. Got 3 in particular that we could talk about. All right. Nothing yet.
So, yes, there's a question. And Kwame asks, is it true Che Carrera a heathen?
Who is it?
Che, C-H-E, Carrera a heathen?
I'm not even sure. I don't even know who that is. Che Carrera. I'm not sure, but let's get Numbers 1 and 18 real quick. Numbers 1 and 18. Sometimes you got to do a little research on people if you're interested. I know when I was, trying to see, like, okay, talent is talent. You know what I mean? Sometimes you watch heathens and stuff, but sometimes you're just curious. It's like, man, is this person Israel? You go back and, check a little research and find out who their father is. And that's where we're going to get out the scriptures in Numbers 1 and 18, whenever you got it.
Book of Numbers.
Oh, Salakia. Look like your head.
Oh, Salakia. What? Book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 18.
Uh-huh.
And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month.
All right, so this is, the book of Numbers is when Moses was numbering the people, right? So, like, in this, it's really about rank and order and structure, right? Because imagine being Moses and 1,000 different people running to him, all from Israel, asking them questions, and he about to go crazy, just tending to everybody's needs. And so he really established, rank. You know what I mean? He put people over 50 and so on and so forth. So, but the book of Numbers, now read it again from the top.
Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together.
Right. So all the congregation is being assembled. Go ahead.
On the first day of the second month.
Mm-hmm.
And they declared their pedigrees after their families.
They declared what?
Pedigrees after their families.
They declared their pedigree. So what is a pedigree? You think about a dog, right? That's the best example I could have, because a lot of people, they breed dogs or horses. That's a better one, because horses is big business, right? You spend, them Arabian horses go for, who knows, millions of dollars, something ridiculous. But, depending on the pedigree of the horse, it'll determine if somebody wants to breed it with you, or, you got a pit. You want to breed it with another high quality pit. You don't want to, breed it with some mutt that's, won't know how to fight, if that's what you're doing, breeding for fighting purposes. But don't be a Michael Vick. You know what I'm saying? Don't,
right.
The oppressor loved animals more than he loved black people. Believe that. So keep going.
By the house of their fathers.
By the house of their fathers. So depending on who this person is, which I'm not familiar with this person, but you just got to look at their pedigree by the house of their father. Meaning whatever you are, whatever your father is, that's what you are. So a lot of people in the world, they say, well, how y'all know y'all Israelites? Y'all ain't no Israelites. Y'all ain't got no DNA. They don't understand the scriptures, first of all. And second of all, DNA is not going to tell you anything unless it's like, this is your child type DNA. It's not, what's the original DNA you using to see, who's an Israelite, first of all. Second of all, I know I'm an Israelite because my father is an Israelite and his father is an Israelite. His father is Israelite, and they suffered through the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28. So anytime you want to know who a person is, or who, if they're Israel or not, which is really all that matters, is you got Israel, then you got a heathen nation, and that's it. If you want to get specific, you can. You can say, like, this person is from Moab, this person is an Ammonite, this person is an Elamite. You can go on and try to determine who's who. But the bottom line is, if you're an Israelite or not, that's what's important. All right, any more?
By the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls.
Right. So it's really just that's how during biblical times they determined your pedigree, or if you was an Israelite, by the house of your father. Right.
Right.
Any more questions?
He said the dude from Cuba. And that's it. No other questions.
Oh, okay. Most High in Christ. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that person. I have no idea, what their pedigree is. If they're, if their foreparents, forefathers suffered through the curses in Deuteronomy, which Cubans did. Not to say that he is one of those people, but the Cubans actually did. That'd be the tribe of Manasseh. They were definitely conquered, by the Spanish. And maybe somebody else. I can't remember the history. I haven't done a lot of specific history on Cuba itself. You was gonna say something?
Well, Will, yeah, also too, he has to understand that you have two different kind of Cubans. You have the Spaniard Cuban, like say for instance the actor Andy Garcia,
right?
Who play in the mob movies and stuff like that as an Italian, but he's a Cuban. But he is a Spaniard Cuban. When you got people like Sammy Sosa, who is an Israelite Cuban. It's like black and white wherever you go.
Yeah, I mean it's no different from two types of Mexicans or two types of black people. You got Tia and Tamara, who are they look black, they act black for the most part. People look at them and be like, they black, but they got white fathers. Or Bob Marley, that's probably a more popular one. People look at him as like, oh, he's the blackest of the black. He smoked ganja and he sing reggae, so he got to be black. When in all actuality, his father was a white man, so that makes Bob Marley a white man as well. So just like Officer Rock was saying, two types of, you got again taking me back to my point. You got Israelites and non-Israelites, and it's determined by the house of your father. So basically, if you want to know about a person in particular, you kind of have to go back and see, who his father was. If his father was, an Italian or a Spaniard, and then he wouldn't be Cuban. He wouldn't be from the tribe of Manasseh. But if his family grew up, came up in the mud, and they were conquered, and they don't know their identity, and they just call themselves Cubans, and more than likely, he probably would be an Israelite. But again, you have to research that person.
Right.
Anyway, so that's it on the questions. Oh, you was gonna say something? Go ahead.
Well, right, because a lot of times you just you want to do you can just Google. A person could just Google certain things.
I do it all the time.
Right. Me too. Just such and such a whatever the guy's name is, father. Just like Harry Belafonte found out he was a devil. They used to back in the 70s to use him in pro-black and all of that. Well, he's an Italian. His dad's Italian. That's how he got the name Belafonte.
Makes sense. So, all right, that looks like that's it on that. And if there's no more questions, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the discussion for today. So this book right here, Before the Mayflower, A History of the Negro in America, 1619 to 1962. So this is a great book. I did a breakdown. I did a class on a piece of this book, right? So this book is broken up into different sections, and I did a class on the Cincinnati channel about Jim Crow and how Jim Crow started and the history of Jim Crow and how it went from basically an idea and kind of a play and something that the oppressor used to laugh and joke about until it developed into a whole movement. And it's amazing story about Jim Crow. And also this is what we're going to cover today about slave revolts. This is pretty good. This is probably not the most comprehensive book on slave revolts. I keep saying results. Slave revolts. It's not the most comprehensive, but it has some good information in it, and we're going to get into some of it today. Due to time, we're not going to be able to read the whole section, but we got some juicy parts that we're going to pull out for sure. And the part that I like about slave revolts is, if it doesn't inspire inspiration, then you docile and you sleep. You should, not to say that you're going to go and act crazy and revolt, because that's not the orders from the Lord, right? The orders from the Lord is for you to obey him.
Right.
Right. But it does still inspire some confidence, something that in you that needs to burn. Well, what you need to do is take that energy that you feel from reading stories like this and direct it toward the Lord. Serve the Lord with all your strength, with all your might, with everything that you got, and don't falter at all. But at the same time, you can still enjoy some stories from the past. So I'm gonna pass this to the brother in Salaki. I got a lot of reading for you today. So anytime anybody got any questions on this, go ahead and stop me. We're gonna go probably as fast as we can, and still get through as much as possible, because there's quite a few sections in there I want to get.
Slave revolts and insurrections, chapter 5.
All right. So if you could, I highlighted everything that I like to try to get read. And that first quote is a pretty good quote. I like to read it if you could.
God. Denmark Vesey, a Negro who resisted slavery and led an insurrection in the effort to throw off the oppression.
To throw off the what?
Oppression.
Man, ain't much change. It's so many videos coming out here lately about police brutality. It's like they couldn't wait to get back in. It's like it's pent up aggression. You look at some of these devils with the videos that's been coming out, and it looks like pent up aggression. They've been in a nice house with their home, and they she devil bitching at them, and they can't wait to get back out on the streets to niggas is back on the streets just so they can pull them over and beat them up. You got it.
If I could, they had the video of the brother who was jogging outside.
Right.
And then devils, they was just outside with guns and stuff, and so he was running by them, but he had to run up on him because he didn't know if he was gonna get shot, and they ended up killing him. He was outside jogging.
Right.
The videos on Facebook.
And I was gonna read that. I read that story, and I was gonna bring it out, but since you brought it up, we can talk about it. That brother, like, I read the story, right? So the two devils, there was somebody breaking in some houses, like either the week before or the day before, something like that. And so he, according to them, he was jogging and he peeked into a house that they were building up or doing some construction on, right? And so I think it was the dad. He was like, that looks like the guy who broke in the house. So he's running. The guy grabs his son. His son gets his shotgun. The guy is an ex-cop, the devil. He grabs his pistol. They get in the car and they're following him down the street, talking about, we got to talk to you. Like, who ain't going to get defensive? Right. Two people following me with guns talking about, yeah, we just want to talk. I'm hauling ass. What I'm going to stop for? So, and then the defense is that, he attacked them. Well, you follow me aggressively with guns. What am I supposed to think? I'm going to defend my life. Right. And so, the district attorney, one of the two district attorneys or prosecutors already, they already excluded themselves for, I forget what you call it, when you basically take yourself out of being a prosecutor, for conflict of interest, because the guy's an ex-cop and they know him, so they don't want to have a conflict of interest. Right. But here's the thing: one of them, before he stepped out of the situation, he said, yeah, they was within their rights to do that because they said that he was being aggressive. But let two niggas get in the car, both of them with guns, and follow a white man down the street, right, saying, hey, we want to talk to you. We automatically going to jail. Right. We are automatically going to jail because that's going to be some form of harassment. I know since when, and that's the problem. Like, I'm getting off. That's like it. I get to going on this story, man. This story heats me. This boils me over, man. This you talk about angry. You talking about serving the Lord, man, so we can get out of this hellhole as fast as possible. It's so horrific what they do to the children of Israel, man. It's so horrific. You follow a brother with guns in a pickup truck, two white men, knowing the racial tension in America right now, and you want him to stop and talk to you because you suspect something? Since when did you become the police? You trying to make a citizen's arrest? How about you just get on the phone and call the police and follow him? Wouldn't that have been the better thing to do instead of taking? Listen, the oppressor don't give a damn, man. Right. The oppressor don't give a damn. All they want to do is an opportunity. Of course he's going to attack. You following him with guns for blocks and blocks and blocks. He feel like he got to defend himself. Right. So, yeah, that story right there, man, that is a horrible story. And I understand from reading the story, it's been 3 months and they haven't even charged the two devils with anything.
Right.
So it's just a horrible situation. It's what we deal with in America all the time. America look at us like we're worthless and shiftless, but this is the kind of thing that we lose as a people. Not talking about us in the truth, but as a people, we lose faith in America because of things like this, right? A lot of times that's what's drove a lot of us to the truth.
Right.
Like you see how unfair America is and how you will never be a part of America, which is our goal for every Black, Hispanic, and Native American, is to wake up to this truth. You see how unfair they are.
Right.
And you say, man, it's got to be something else. It's good news. It is.
Right.
It's something. It's not only is it something else, it's something specifically for you. And it's called the Bible, black man.
Right.
And the Lord requires you to serve him without question. So let's keep going on that. Salaki, I had to rant on that story, man. That one, that's a horrible thing for a family to have to deal with. You know, you out for a morning job, here come two crazy, bloodthirsty demons, you know what I'm saying, looking for an opportunity to kill you.
Right. Denmark Vesey, who resisted slavery and led an insurrection in the effort to throw off the oppression, is a type which contradicts the assumption that Negroes are innately docile as a race and were content with slavery.
Right. Keep going.
In a sense, Vesey represents the spirit of independence for which the founding fathers of America are praised.
Now listen, this quote is so heavy. This is just a quote. Who's that quote from? Is at the bottom?
Charles S. Johnson.
Right. I don't know who that is, but this quote is so heavy. Read that part again about the founding fathers.
Vesey represents the spirit of independence for which the founding fathers of America are praised.
Listen, the founding fathers are praised for this type of independence. You would think the oppressor in this country would have some type of sympathy for what we're going through as a people. And here's the problem. None of them are honest about themselves. They're not honest about how they treat Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right. Because if they were, they would look at themselves and say, you know what? We fought for the same thing in 1776. We fought for the same thing to establish America, but they are incapable of looking through that lens. They're incapable of any compassion for you because the Bible says they have a hatred from you that they've had from the womb. You understand? Right. They have hated you from the womb and they cannot control their bloodlust against you. So that scripture was, or that quote from that person. And like I said, I don't know who that person is, but that quote is super heavy because like I said, if the oppressor really could open his eyes and see the things that Black people go through, Hispanics and Native Americans, right, are the same thing that they went through as a nation. They wanted freedom. They wanted independence. They didn't want to be oppressed. So much so that they went to war and killed people. They killed other white people for that freedom, right? And so when we're upset, when we want equal rights, when we want equal pay, when we want to be treated like a goddamn human being, right, they should understand that. But again, they're incapable of that kind of compassion. Right. Any more on that quote?
Come on. An insurrection is merely an unsuccessful revolution, but Denmark Vesey is a symbol of a spirit too violent to be acceptable to the white community.
Right. Listen. Oh, that part is super heavy. One more time.
Denmark Vesey is a symbol of a spirit too violent to be acceptable to the white community.
Listen, oppressors don't want to, they can't accept that. They can accept them being violent against their oppressors, but right, they can't accept you Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans being violent to your oppressors. Right. People who don't hire you, people who fire you real fast, people who deny you health care, people who deny you health benefits, people who murder you in the street, people who don't even want you to have food stamps, man. When your family, their whole life been in poverty. Nobody has an education. Nobody's been able to afford education. So anyway, any more on that?
God. There are no Negro schools named for him.
Right.
And it would be extremely poor taste and bad judgment for the Negroes to take any pride in his courage and philosophy.
Right. They don't want you to have no, listen, if people get upset when you talk about Malcolm X. Like in Malcolm X, okay, he was a revolutionary, but he wasn't, you know, Denmark Vesey, I'm gonna go kill people. You know, Denmark Vesey was, you know, putting together a whole plan to take out a whole town. So, you know, they don't even want you to talk about Malcolm, let alone something like this. They don't want you to have that pride built up in you. And it's funny, it reminds me of a point about who's the white comic or the oppressor, the devil that just died? Stan Lee. Reminds me of Stan Lee when they talked about Black Panther and how they had to make Black Panther from Africa as opposed to making him a Negro in America, because you know the oppressors in this country would look at it like an uprising. Like they don't want even you to have a comic book character. Like imagine you. That's why you don't understand the witchcraft that goes on in this nation through media, through movies, through music. All this is designed and built for you not to have any, you know, any kind of upliftment.
Right.
And with that, you're going to stay down. You was going to say something?
Right. And it's crazy because I've heard of the name Denmark Vesey so much, plenty of times, but I don't know his story. I don't know what happened. What happened?
Hey, well, we about to get it tonight. You know the best thing that you hear in school really is probably Harriet Tubman. You know what I mean? Harriet Tubman is probably the most, because you don't even really hear about Nat Turner. No. You know, Nat Turner you learned about maybe if you know somebody that know history, but I didn't learn about Nat Turner in school. I think probably the most radical person that I heard about was Harriet. And Harriet really wasn't, I think she, you know, in some instances she might have killed if she had to, but Nat Turner literally went out, you know, and slaughtered people, which again, we're not condoning you do that today. That's not the time for that. This is history we're talking about. But the part of the quote was so heavy because oppressors can accept the violence that they've committed, but they can't accept that we're being oppressed and you know, if we committed violence. So they don't want you to have any history of that, like the brother was saying, or the person, whoever wrote the quote was saying, like, you don't learn about him in school. There's no schools named after him anymore.
Okay. There is indeed little chance for Negro youth to know about him at all.
Right, which we like brother said, we got a personal example here in class. Like you just don't know about. Ron Evans on YouTube post the scriptures that you're talking about. Why does Joseph have two lineages? Post those scriptures in there. All right, so let's get the next highlighted piece. So this book right here is talking about a handful of slave revolts, right? And the first one it starts with is Toussaint Overture, or La Overture, however you pronounce his name, the brother from Haiti. And so his is an interesting story. Now I'll try to fill in the gaps with a summary because again, we're not going to be able to read everything. But we're gonna get the highlighted points for sure because it's heavy what the Bible was bringing, or what this book was bringing out. You got it.
Then in Mexico, you also had Gaspar Yanga.
So you're gonna have to do a class on that now.
Right.
You brought it up.
I before in a few classes, but yeah, I'm gonna do a in-depth thing. You know, they still got his statue down in Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, he's standing there, you know, he got on like the slave clothes with, you know, he got on like the Incredible Hulk type of pants, you know what I'm saying? And he got a machete up like this and got like broken chains on him.
Right.
They still got that, you know, statue down there.
Yeah, all these historical figures, man, that stood up for their people, man. We need to do classes on them. Like I saw brothers posting some stuff about Pancho Villa, man. It's just something that you just never learned about in school.
Right.
You kind of got to go fish it out, because if you don't, it'll never, you know, unless you got an Israelite friend that was big into history. Like I never, you know, I heard about it, but I never knew about it. I didn't know, you know, what he did for his people. So like I'm personally, you know, been reading a lot of books here lately about, you know, historical stuff and trying to bring it in class on law class. So I'm, you know, talk to the brothers, man, just, you know, just a tidbit to help the people, because without us bringing it out, people ain't gonna know about this, man.
Right.
You got it.
And this is going to show you how deep the witchcraft is, because remember when we was like growing up and they had cartoons of Samson and all of that, right? Now that the knowledge of the truth is coming out, and you know, and Samson was a Negro, now they have to try and tank that up too. Even when they came out with that movie, you know, what was it, a series or something, a movie with Samson?
I saw that.
It was supposed to be Samson and all of that. How they altered things, and they had, and you know, he was like the only black Jew or something like that.
Right.
You know, they had the serpent, the devil in his mama's ear. You know,
I saw that. I saw that they made him, you know, black with locks.
Right.
I think that cat's actually a Hamite. I'm not 100% sure, but he is a big cat. I know
Right,
you're talking about. It was a good series too. I liked it.
Yeah, it was. You know, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't as good as if they had to put more details from the Bible with Samson. And
right.
It would have been something serious, you know.
Right. I think that one they probably didn't want to go too crazy because they already made him black, so they was like, all right, we just go.
Go with that. Yeah. Go with that. You know.
All right. We ready for the next section?
God. Good slave revolts and insurrections, page 98. Good God, who makest the sun to light us from on high.
Okay, so this is the beginning of the slave revolt, and this is the beginning of the slave revolt in Haiti, right? And so the people are gathered, they come together, they about to make a plan, and they doing this prayer. Go ahead.
Who raisest up the sea and makest the storm to thunder.
Right. So
Good.
They praying.
Good God, who watches over all, hidden in a cloud, protect and save us from what the white man do to us.
From what?
From what the white men do to us.
Listen, the same thing that's been going on. Listen, it hasn't stopped, man. The time that you start, as we as a people start disobeying the Lord, this is what we go through. You read the Bible, it's about the children of Israel serving the Lord and getting good, not serving the Lord and getting bad. And all throughout the Bible, you see this, man. It's a repetitive theme in the Bible. Children of Israel, Lord's chosen people, serving God, they get good. They don't serve God, they get bad. They go into captivity. And this is nothing new for us, man, because the Bible says that we're a stiff-necked people, right? But at this point, we figure we're going to do something about it in Haiti. So let's keep going.
Good God, the white men do crimes, but we do not.
Right.
Good God, give us vengeance. Guide our arms. Give us help. Good God, grant us that freedom which speaks to all men.
That what?
Grant us that freedom that speaks to all men.
Man, freedom speaks to everybody. Everything wants to be free. You know, it's not too many things, and I can't say everything because I don't know that. Some people are happy in cages. But it's, black people damn sure, at least their mindset wants to be caged. They don't want to have to deal with this. They don't want to have to put up a fight. But not these folks in Haiti. They was like, man, damn that. First of all, we gonna free our mind, and then we're gonna free ourselves physically. Which again, ain't none of this gonna work long term without the Lord. But they got a fire put under them, man, and they like it's only so much oppression, that a people can take. And I've been following this story. It's funny that you brought up that story about the brother who got shot down. Online, it was a brother who posted. He do these. He kind of in the political scene, and he get badge numbers for cops and try to get them fired and put on leave and all this stuff. He like a voice of the people, right? He not in the truth, but from the world's perspective, he tries to do the right thing from trying to get his people, help his people, right? And he posted something that was crazy. He was like, I don't know how much more this that black people are going to take. And he was like, I'm not trying to incite a riot or try to incite hate, but it's just like plain and simple. How many more times do you got to see somebody black get punched in the face?
Right.
While they got him on the ground, the brother put his hands up, and you still, kick him in the back and punch him in his face. It's like, it's to the point now where it's like you might as well resist. You're gonna get punched in the face anyway. You're gonna get shot anyway. You might as well whoop some ass before you go.
Right.
Not saying that again. That's the mindset. That's not what you should do. You should comply. You understand? You should comply. Anyway, any more on that?
Just the scriptures.
Okay, yeah. Let's get the scripture. I'll let you read it, then I go.
Deuteronomy 28 and 1 through 2.
Yeah. So this is again. The whole reason why we're in this mess to begin with is because we refuse to serve the Lord, man. Go ahead.
And
go ahead.
They got a IMPD shootout on 62nd in Michigan. One suspect reportedly killed by officer happening right now.
Right now, damn. Indianapolis is going down.
Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Deuteronomy 28:1. And it shall come, it's like, oh, I can have it.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If you shall listen, man, listen with everything that you got in your being. Listen to the Lord. Hearken, do everything that the Lord is telling you to do. This is the law class, which is the whole purpose of the law, man.
Right.
The purpose of the law is for you to follow and do what the Lord says to do, man. And then it's going to tell you what's the benefits of that, because everybody want to know, what's the benefits of me joining the I.S.U.P.K? What's the benefits of me, serving the Lord? What's the benefit of me to stop eating pork and stop smoking? How about you live? How about that? That's what the Bible says. If you want to live, I set before thee life and death. Choose life.
Right.
You understand? Go ahead.
Observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day,
Mm-hmm.
that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Man, you talk about these people in Haiti that's about to have this revolt. They wouldn't have had to go through this if they would have served the Lord.
Right.
You Native Americans wouldn't have had to go through the horrible atrocities you went through if you served the Lord. You blacks and Hispanics wouldn't have to have been butchered and slaughtered and maimed and raped and burned, you know what I mean, and skinned and tarred and feathered and every other horrible atrocity we went through if we would serve the Lord. In fact, if you served him, he said he would put you on high above all nations. Go ahead.
Right. Verse 2. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee.
Man, listen, guess what overtakes us now? Horror. You
Right.
understand? Horror. That's what overtakes us. Poverty, crime, disease. Everything that's bad overtakes us now. But if you serve the Lord, if you follow the command, if you kept the commandments, it says the blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee. I don't know about you, but I want to be overtaken by some blessings. I want the Lord to look down on me and my people and say, you know what? Y'all follow me, y'all serve me. Rulership. That's what I want. I don't want to be equal in this society. Being equal in this society is nothing to me anymore. Is that at one point when I was not in the truth and when I was young, I thought about a time when black people, man, it'd be nice if we could just be equal to the oppressors here. If we could just live that American dream. You know what I mean? If we just had everything, we had land and we had, 40 acres and a mule and we had our own businesses. Damn that, man. How about we have our own planet? How about that? How about the whole damn planet Earth is ours? That's what we want now.
Right.
Go ahead.
And overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Verse 3. Blessed shalt thou be in the city.
Oh, that's it. That's the point that I wanted to get back to the slave revolt. While they're praying, just the whole point of it is you didn't have to come this far. You never had to go into captivity if you obeyed.
There's more scriptures to it that you
Okay, that's cool.
James 2:10.
Yeah. James 2:10. Okay, that's right.
Let me go ahead.
Yep.
James chapter 2, verse 10. For whosoever shall keep the whole law.
Oh man, and this is it. That was my second point. It's cool. It's cool if you say you keep the 10 commandments. That's nice. That's good. But guess what? You got to keep the whole law. You got to keep everything. You can't just say, well, I ain't killed nobody.
Right.
You ever talk to people in the world and they say, man, I don't know why they passed. He was such a good person and he didn't kill nobody or hurt nobody. That's good. That's a start. But the Lord requires more of you.
Right.
The Lord requires that you not serve other gods. That's the biggest thing getting our people. That's the thing. You got to get Caesar Borgia out of your house. That's what you got to do. You got to get that whole Christianity mentality, or if you think you conscious, then you in Islam. You know what I mean? You're wearing a little beanie. You think you know something now, and you're bowing down, praying to Mecca. That's when you really think you're righteous when you're a Muslim. You know what I mean? The Christians, man, y'all listen. You can't just keep part of the law. The Bible says you got to keep the whole law. Go
right.
ahead.
For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point.
You keep the whole law and you just tell a lie. You offend in one point. Or you eat a piece of pork. Just you doing everything else and you eat a piece of pork, go ahead.
He is guilty of all.
You guilty of the whole damn thing, man. You might as well be a rapist and a murderer. You guilty.
Right.
You are guilty. That's how the Lord look at it. You got to keep it all. That's like the father in the household saying, before you go to bed, this is part of your chores. Before you go to bed, when I get home, I want to see the dishes clean, the trash taken out,
right,
the grass cut, and your bed made, well, not your bed made because you'll be in your bed, but I don't know, something else, vacuum the floors, whatever it is, right? He want all those things done. And he come home and wake you up and he say, why didn't you cut the grass? I told you I was going to cut the grass. I'm already giving you $100 a week in allowance. You can't do the chores you're responsible to do.
Right.
He don't feel good about that. You done a half-ass job. He's not proud of that. You understand? Because you made a covenant with him, or you made an agreement with him, which is what the laws are. That's our covenant with the Most High. Us keeping it. He said if we would keep the laws, he would be our God.
Right.
Any more?
God. Verse 11. For he that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill.
Right.
Now, if thou commit no adultery, yet if thou kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law.
Listen, you a transgressor of the law, man. You think you hot? You think you hot stuff because you go to church on Sunday, which
right,
really ain't even the Sabbath. If you knew any damn thing, you Christians, you would know that Sunday is the first day and not the seventh day. And the seventh day that's you breaking the law. You're not keeping the Sabbath holy. You're working on Saturday like it's any other day of the week. The Sabbath is supposed to be your day, man. The Lord gave you that day. It's supposed to be all the Israelites supposed to have that day off, man. It's supposed to be a day of rest. It's a day for you. You Christians go to church on Sunday thinking that's a holy day. That's the worship of the sun god. You understand? Sunday. All right, let's get back to the highlighted part.
God, there's still one more scripture.
Okay.
Matthew 5:19.
Oh yeah, I'll take that one too. You drive the point home.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 19.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I can have it.
Mm-hmm.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments.
Your Christian pastor all the time, every day. All the time, every day, your Christian pastor, he breaks one of the least commandments.
And shall teach men so.
And your Creflo Dollar, he teaches men to do so fervently. He's like, if you keep the law, you are rejecting Jesus Christ's grace. That's what Creflo say, and every other pastor. They all these prosperity preachers thinking that God is a genie and is just going to do great and wonderful things for you. You are going to die. You understand?
Right.
He's going to get you killed if you don't repent and start serving the Lord. Go ahead.
He shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven.
The least in the kingdom of heaven, man. When blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans finally rule under Yahawashi, Jesus Christ, you're going to be the least in the kingdom. People are going to look at you and know that you taught men to not keep the law. That's how we gonna know you're gonna be the least. We're gonna say, you know what? That brother right there, man, he is in, he is the least in the kingdom. He did not keep, he taught men not to keep the laws. So all your big head Negroes that's so smart, all your theologians, all your heavy hitting Christian pastors, and all these other Negroes that teach you wrong, teach you not to serve God, they're gonna be the least in the kingdom.
Right.
All right, let's get back to the story.
Yeah.
Damn, it's already 7:52. We gonna have to. It's a lot here. We ain't got into nothing that I want to get into yet.
Slave revolts and insurrections, page 99. More than 100,000 slaves were in revolt, hacking, burning, murdering for 3 weeks.
Right. So this is Haiti, right? So that first part we read about them praying to God and saying that the white man had done evil and they committed crimes and they prayed. And, basically the answer was, before you even get to that, man, serve the Lord, you won't have to go back into captivity. Right. So now this is the actual insurrection. This is the actual revolt. And it's, they said it's 100,000 plus slaves burning, hacking, and killing for, what was it, 3 weeks?
God.
Man, them white people was in hell, yo. Go ahead.
Also, too, here's the thing. I remember, long before I ever came into the truth, I was watching the 700 Club.
I remember that show, yo.
That?
Yo, niggas used to watch that and swear that this white man had all the answers in the world, yo.
Right. I used to think that back in the day. I used to think like, man, how do you answer questions like that? You know what I'm saying? I was like that too. I thought like that.
We giving our age away, yo.
Right. I was watching the one episode though. He mentioned something about the Haitians sold their souls to Satan in 1776 for the island of Haiti. You see that episode?
I didn't, but it just sounds so much like something he would say.
Yeah, I'm sitting there, now I didn't know that, but when I start finding out things, I'm like, hold on. They probably called up on the Lord.
Right.
Because I ain't never seen in the Bible nowhere where Satan delivered anybody out of anything. Right. It's always been the Lord do it. The Lord's always delivered, you know what I'm saying, the Lord's people.
Yeah.
I saw that. And then at the same time, you got to think about it too, because I was battling somebody like months back concerning what happened in Haiti.
Right.
And they was like, oh, well, they outnumbered the French. Wait a minute, this was Napoleon's army.
Right. Oh, we're gonna get to that too.
No.
Yeah, but no, that's heavy.
And I was like, so it had to be the Lord to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be. And then just like we did at times, just like what happened, in Mexico with Gaspar Yanga, the land had rest for 40 years, like the Bible says.
Mm.
Like because we was all starting to revolt at the same time, though. We was communicating with each other.
Yeah, we're gonna get it. That's funny. Now you definitely got to do a class on it now. You got me interested in who this cat is. What is it? Jasper?
Gasper.
Gasper.
Gasper. Yanga, Yanga.
All right, let's keep going.
The slaves continued the work of death for 3 weeks. Fires burned.
Mm-hmm. Any more?
That's it on that one. I'm going to the next one.
Okay.
Historians armed with hindsight have written a great deal of romantic nonsense about the docility of the Negro slave.
Right. So you got historians who will say, yeah, these. And who's a proponent of that? Who perpetuates that? Negroes like that's true. The Christian church definitely. But I was gonna say Negroes like Kanye West. Kanye West said slavery was a choice. Y'all too docile, man. Historians, they romanticize that. Like that's the thing, man. People actually believe like black people didn't mind being in slavery. That's why the witchcraft is so heavy, because I heard, I haven't seen this, and I don't know if it's true, but if it is, it's disgusting. I've heard that in some textbooks, they've changed the transatlantic slave trade to the Great Migration. Like you migrated here in a slave ship with your brothers and sisters, defecating and urinating and, all over you in some little tight space where you couldn't even, it was so tight you couldn't even turn, right? And so that's what they say that we wanted. We wanted to migrate like that, which is such a horrible, evil, and disgusting thing that Esau does. If he's doing that in his textbooks, and I wouldn't be damn surprised.
Right.
Go ahead.
The planter who lived with the Negro slave knew him better.
Right. So it's like historians say they docile. They love slavery. They, this is all part of life for them. But the planters, the people who worked them farms with them, they knew different. Go ahead.
Right. He knew from bitter experience that the Negro was a dangerous man.
Right. Because
he was a wronged man.
He was what?
A wronged man.
He was wronged, America. We are being wronged even still today. We are wronged. Any of you devils come across this video and try to report it, just know that you have wronged us, so leave it alone. Right. Don't report this. Because the Most High sees you, and he sees your forefathers and what they've done to us and our forefathers. He said he knew he was dangerous because he is a wronged man. Them brothers that's getting killed down in the streets, they have been wronged.
Right.
Them people kicked off them jobs, fired off them jobs, or denied health care, denied health benefits. They have been wronged, America. You brought us over here, you better damn make sure we're taken care of, or guess what? The Lord will send the coronavirus. Right. And he's going to send this hornet that look like it's going to sting the shit out of you. Yeah, that hornet look like it's gonna sting the shit out of somebody, boy. I'm like, dang, he gonna send all kind of plagues.
Man, yes, I will. And that particular type of hornet, that hornet, I seen it attack a mouse. We brought that out in the class. Attack a mouse. Now think about it. Hornets fly.
Mm-hmm.
The mouse is on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So the hornet had to come directly for the mouse.
Nice. Hey, he's wanted all the smoke.
Right. So if you do that with that mouse, 10 of them would do that with a person.
Listen, he wanted all the smoke.
Right.
So anyway, the Lord, right? The Lord is going to send more plagues because we are wronged people, just like we were back during that time, just like Hispanics are today, just like they were in the past. Same thing with Native Americans. All these, and that's what makes me so upset about these fake Israelite groups. Look at the same. Listen. The same thing black people going through, Hispanics and Native Americans are going through the same oppression. Even the Surgeon General was like, yo, we're more, this group of people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are more subject to die from the coronavirus because of the oppression that we're going through. He didn't say oppression in directly like that, but basically it's summed up to oppression. Go ahead.
God. Was a wrong man. The Negro smiled, yes, but he also cut throats.
Damn.
Burned down houses and conceived plots to rise up and kill every white person within reach.
Now, this is not your average Negro. This is the Negro that had, like he saw no other way, which should be such the spirit. Not you going out and physically doing this, but this should be your spirit, Black, Hispanic, and Native American man. You don't have, there's nothing else left. Like, what else are you waiting for them to take from you? Right? You live in poverty as a people, not you individually, maybe, not your grandmother, not your rich uncle, not Michael Jordan, not Oprah Winfrey, no. But as a people, you live in utter poverty. Utter poverty. You are number one in diseases. You are ground down into powder in this society, man. Even down, I never forget this experience, man. When I went to Trinidad, I went down there, man, and kicked it with them beautiful brothers down there, man. And it was a wonderful thing just to see all the black people and stuff. But lo and behold, you go down there, man, and it's the same damn oppression just by different people. I'm like, God damn, boy, you just listen. You can't escape the curses, man. These curses are put in place as to serve our punishment until we start serving the Lord, man. We're gonna be ground down into powder until we finally say what this book just said. There's nothing else, man. There's nothing else. This is it. You gotta serve the Lord. He's the only thing left for you to try. Go ahead.
This happened so often that many white men weakened under the strain. Some died of heart failure. Some went insane.
Yeah. They said, listen, these slave revolts, they taxing, man. They are taxing. And I know the spirit behind this. I've seen this in corporate America. I've seen this and you can see it in any job. It ain't just got to be the jobs that I've been on. Any job, you get 2 or 3 black people huddled together talking. They might be on break. They might just be kicking it. You know what I mean? Damn sure if they on the clock, they ain't gonna be doing it. But if they just kicking it, they huddled up 2 or 3, 5, don't let it be 5 or 6. Some oppressor coming over to see what y'all talking about, what y'all doing, what's going on. Let me hear the joke. They coming over under the guise of being down and being part of the group. They trying to figure out what you're doing, what you're plotting, because they know the horror. Like if you ever organize, that's why how much feedback we got on that tape here with the she-devil coming over. And then Kabash was like, yeah, I'm gonna run it up the chain. And like you got people on World Star Hip Hop, they like, he got to run it up the chain. What kind of BS is that? It sounds stupid. I'm like, and under all these, I'm putting black men can organize. Like it's so odd that to see black people organize. It's like that's not a he reports to somebody. Right. And that person reports to somebody. And that person reports to somebody. It's like there's an organization here. Black people so used to being, out on their own and everybody for everybody. Listen, the Bible says this: gather together, yea, gather together, O nation, not desired. That's Zephaniah 2:1. You are a nation that's not desired, right? Right. So when you see black people organize, if you in the world, it looks odd to you. But if you know the Bible, you know we've been doing this since biblical times, man.
Right.
We was organized in the Bible. It wasn't 10 people in charge. It was one person in charge, and he put other men in charge, and they put men in charge, and they put men in charge. And you got a whole nation that follows brothers, that follows brothers, that follows brothers, that follows a man. That's how it is. That's organization. That's how you set up a structure. That's how you maintain a nation. You can't maintain a nation with, you know what I'm saying, a cajillion people in charge.
Right.
Go ahead.
The insurrection, this is Romans 12 and 19, if you want that.
Yep, I'll take it real quick. You said Romans 9?
12 and 19.
12 and 19.
Right. Romans chapter 12, verse 19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord.
Listen, the Most High, even though I love reading about these slave revolts, right? Any kind of revolt is only going to go so far if you're not serving the Lord. You know what I mean? Any kind of, you know, Black Wall Street, Seneca Village, Rosewood, any of those places only going so far without you serving the Lord. Because guess what? The oppressor is going to find a way to destroy it. Whether he bombs it, whether he says you whistled at a white woman, whether he says, you know, he needs this land for eminent domain, who knows what he's going to do? He's going to plot something so you can't have something that should be rightfully yours. That's why you got to serve the Lord, man. You talk about the law being important. Listen, the commandments is everything. Without the commandments, you don't have a covenant with the Most High. So if you New Testament, if you're a Christian and you don't believe in keeping the laws, then you don't have a covenant with the Most High. You say that he has a new covenant, but that new covenant was with the people that was under the first covenant. That's in the scriptures. So Christians so confused, man. They say, yeah, we spiritual, but yeah, but the even the New Testament say he established the covenant with those under the old covenant. Let's keep going.
On the scripture?
Yep.
Okay.
If there's any more. No, that was it, wasn't it?
That's it.
All right, let's drop that.
These insurrections, a Virginian wrote, during a period of panic, have alarmed my wife so as really to endanger her health.
Listen, imagine all you Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans coming in here and getting organized. And then you got to run it up the chain. And the oppressor see you talking about, you got to run it up the chain of command. Like they will listen, they're going to have some sleepless nights. Go ahead.
Right. And I have not slept without anxiety in 3 months.
Keep going.
Our nights are sometimes spent in listening to noises. A corn song or a hog call has often been the subject of a nervous terror.
Right. They hearing animals out in the barn and, you know what I'm saying, making noises. Like, what's that? What's that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Go ahead.
There has been and a cat in the dining room will banish sleep for the night.
They ain't getting no more rest. They hear something. Listen, during the time of these slave revolts, them oppressors wasn't getting no sleep. They said he slept without anxiety for 3 months. Can you imagine that? Go ahead.
There has been and there still is a panic in all this country. I am beginning to lose my courage about the melioration of the South. Our revivals produce no preachers. Churches are like the buildings in which they worship, gone in a few years. There is no principle of life. Death is an autocratic of slave regions.
Listen, death is in charge around here. You understand? Death is in charge. So again, it's not that you should go out and look for commit violent acts against the oppressors, but what you should do is have that spirit built up in you to say, you know what? I'm not bowing down to this society. I'm not going to be a Christian. I'm not going to celebrate Mother's Day coming up. I'm not going to do all the wicked things that's been pushed down my throat by society that don't give a damn about me.
All right.
Let's keep going. Oh, I got I think Job.
Yeah, Job 18:11. And then there's a question on here too.
Okay, I'll take the question.
Lakina Manuel Craft asked, "Why did we go into slavery in the beginning?"
Oh, let me get 28 and 15 real quick.
Deuteronomy 28,
Deuteronomy
15.
28 and 15 real quick.
Yeah.
That's an excellent question. You was gonna say something?
Yeah, that's a sister that's ready to get a name.
Oh yeah. Oh, Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. Well, that's an excellent question, Lakina. Lakina, is that right?
Right.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. This is what more Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans should be asking, right? Instead, they say, well, when they get the answer, they say, well, maybe we should have just told, ain't it our fault? Yeah, I got a scripture for that too.
Deuteronomy 28 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord of the Most High thy power,
If you don't listen to what the Most High is laying down through Moses, go ahead.
to observe to do all his commandments.
To do what?
To observe to do all his commandments.
To do all his commandments, not just one, not just 10, not just the ones you feel like it, but do all his commandments. Go ahead.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee.
That's why we went into slavery. All those, you go down to 28 and 68. It says that you're going to be sold. You're going to take a ship ride and you're going to be sold for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall redeem you. And that's why we went into slavery right there, because the Most High established a covenant with us, which is the law, which is the commandments. We broke that covenant. We broke that contract. And then he said, you know what? In 28 and 15, he said, all these curses are going to befall you. And that's one of the curses was going into slavery. You'll read that in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68.
Right.
So, and then two, I just wanted to get Baruch 4 and 6, if you could. I think it's 4 and 6. You got it. I think it's Baruch 4 and 6. Like, so we talk to people on the streets and they'll say, well, why you mad at the oppressor? Why you mad at him? If it was us who broke the commandments and went into slavery. Let's get this scripture. 4 and 6.
I read Baruch in so long, I barely remember where it's
at. I don't think it's not really that big though.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, I can have it.
You go ahead.
Okay, God. Baruch 4 and 6. Ye were sold to the nations.
Yeah, we were sold. That's absolutely true. We broke the contract with the Most High. We did that. We were supposed to keep the commandments and we didn't. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Not for your destruction.
But we were not supposed to be destroyed. You think in this destruction, the oppressor could have at least gave us our identity, which he knew, which he knows today, some of them, not, your average Joe walking around on the streets. But the people who got us over here, the government, the society, like the high society, they know who we are.
Right.
They kept meticulous records of those slave ships. They even have, those bills or selling flyers with, what you call them, bastardized ways to say Hebrews.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, we were sold, but it wasn't for so we could be destroyed.
Right.
Go ahead.
Not for your destruction, but because ye moved the Most High to wrath.
We moved them to wrath. Go ahead.
You were delivered unto the enemies.
Right. That's why we were delivered. But it wasn't. We were not supposed to be tortured and maimed. And we could have came over here. We could have served slavery. They could have set us up afterwards, gave us our identity, gave us a piece of the land, or gave us our rightful land. They could have did a million different things than destroying us as a people, and how they continue to destroy us today.
Right. Right.
Any more on that scripture? That's it.
There's more, but it's not really more.
Okay, that's why we can go back. Hopefully that answers your question, Lakina. Let's go back to the book.
Okay. Slave Revolts and Insurrections, page 101. The first settlement within the present borders of the United States to contain Negro slaves was the locale of the first slave revolt. A Spanish colonizer, Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon, founded in the summer of 1526.
Listen, the Spaniards, you look at Spain and that empire, and they were our horrible people.
Right.
Horrible. Their history is a history of nothing but conquering and slaughter and destruction and death. And they like conquered so many tribes, you know, all the tribes, really. They conquered all the tribes, to my knowledge. You got, you know, they conquered the Negroes, they conquered everybody in Central and South America. They had colonies everywhere, and the conquistadors were horrible, chopping off limbs, raping the women, you know, everything that you can think of, they did it.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I could, they're all the ones that speak Spanish.
Hey, listen, that's it. That's easy enough, ain't it? If they speak Spanish and it's not their native tongue, guess what? They were conquered by the Spaniards. What do that include? Damn near everything in the Caribbean islands. Damn near everything, not everything, because the French have some of it. You know, you got North America, Central America, South America,
right?
Cuba, you know, Cuba,
Puerto Rico,
right.
the
Listen,
Dominican Republic.
You got damn near everything around here in the Western Hemisphere where they speak Spanish. Right. You got French in Canada. That's because the French established that. You got French down in some parts of the Caribbean. You got Portuguese. So the Portuguese played a huge role in the colonization down in South America. Right. So these European nations were horrible, and they conquered, and they did it so mercilessly. Is, you know, you read about the history of how they slaughtered and, you know, cut people up. Is horrible.
Right. So the Spanish Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
In the summer of 1526, a community whose probable location was at or near the mouth of the Padee River in what is now South Carolina. The settlement consisted of about 500 Spaniards and 100 Negro slaves. Trouble soon beset it. Illness caused numerous deaths. Carrying off in October, Allion himself. Right.
So the cat who settled it, the cat who settled it, he ended up getting sick and dying from whatever disease that was going around. Right. That's even just as a sidebar. These nations are not supposed to dwell together like that. Every nation is supposed to have their own. You come together for business and for commerce. You're not supposed to take another nation's women. You're not supposed to give them your women. Like the Lord established this from the beginning. These 18 nations that were set up on the earth, they were each given their own land. You understand? Everybody had their own. They're supposed to, you know, play nice. You stay in your land, I stay in my land. You got silk, I take silk. Here goes some spices or whatever. So, you know, you interacting, all kind of diseases and stuff is popping. And the Most High killed them.
All right.
Go ahead. Internal
dissension arose, and the Indians grew increasingly suspicious and hostile.
As they should. As they should. If I was, you know what I'm saying, obviously hindsight, Native Americans, you know, would have made a million different choices.
Right.
You know what I mean? A million. Like they seen anything on that water, they would have shot arrows at it and burned it before it got to the shore.
All right.
Go ahead.
Finally, probably in November, several of the slaves rebelled and fled to the Indians.
Which is too, just a sidebar. And, you know, people always like to perpetuate the divide between Native Americans and even blacks and Hispanics and say, well, yeah, you know, they had us, they sold us as slaves too. Listen, at some point we all turned against each other, but it wasn't of our own devices. It was from the oppressors who caused this division. We are a nation, and we're the same nation, we're the same people. And without, you know, extenuating circumstances from the oppressor and him putting in all his devices and tricks, we would be one nation because we suffer through the same thing. And so that's why it's so important to come up under this umbrella in the ISUPK to get some organization, man.
Right.
Get some organization, learn some brotherhood.
And if I could,
you got it.
I want to increase the divide. If you go back in the day, we turned on them too.
Right.
Where you get the Buffalo Soldiers from? They had us. We was hunting down them in the plains, in the Plains Wars with the Indians. You know?
Yeah, it's all. And listen, would we would have had any mind to go and do that without the oppressor saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna pay you for, you know, Native American scalps"? No, that ain't something we going out just to do.
Right.
You know, so that's all devices from, and still today, you see that a lot today. I know LA is a hot spot where, from what I understand, I don't know this is firsthand, but I know there's pockets where blacks and Hispanics don't like each other, which for the life of me, I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all, because I look at what you're going through in LA. it's like, man, if they got together and organized, Captain Goodall have them, millions of soldiers over there.
Right.
Millions of brothers of niggas wearing khaki suits and crip walking and breaking down scriptures on the podium. That's going to be glorious.
Right.
You know what happened? At one time, the gangs in, not saying that there's nothing good about gangs.
Right. No, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, they were together. Black and Hispanic gangs, you had, they were together. I mean, hell, the Crips had Hispanics, and blacks, and the Bloods had the same thing. But when white people started to come into it, that's what caused the crazy divide right there.
I saw some of that history.
All right.
You was gonna say something?
I was gonna say you got black cops and Hispanic cops. They divided. They fighting other blacks and stuff. So it's still going on today.
But guess what? Here's the good news for anybody who you can trace your lineage back to a black, Hispanic, non-Spaniard. You know what I'm saying? Native American, non-white. Because I know they be talking about I'm 28% a Choctaw. Nah, that's not what we talking about. Your father was a Choctaw. That's what we talking about. You trace your lineage back to that, then we can build a nation out. We can come together under this banner, right? And we can build a nation. We can show you how to serve the Lord.
Right. And there's a question online.
I'll take it.
Lakita Manuel Craft asks, I have a question. Did the Native Indians and Hispanics go into slavery like we blacks did?
Absolutely. 1492, Christopher Columbus. So that's another good question, because fake Israelite groups to say they ain't suffer the curses in Deuteronomy when they were the first to suffer the curses. Like your first interaction with Native Americans being shipped over to Europe was in 1492 when Columbus came over. You'll find that in a book called Black Indians. You can read that history. I forget the page. I don't have it with me, but it tells how they were shipped from America to Spain or one of those countries over there. I can't remember it exactly.
Shipped to a few.
Yeah, no, it's like the same the transatlantic slave trade. It just didn't, it just wasn't Negroes coming from Africa. It was like they would go down, down the south, take Negroes down to the islands, pick up spices and things, hit America, go over there, pick up slaves, go back, drop slaves off. It was a continuous rotation. And I tell you one thing I never noticed. We was talking about Caesar Borgia. I used to watch that show called The Borgias.
Right.
Like it was a part in there. I never peeped this. And now I rewatched it recently, and I saw a part where Pope Alexander, somebody brought him a Native American. And he was like, I don't know what he did in real life, but then he was in a movie, he was like, convert him to Christianity or something. He did something like that. Right. And I was like, man, but I read this book, and it was during his time, during his reign, where they first started shipping Native Americans over there to Europe and Italy and all that place.
Goodbye Uncle Tom was another one.
I'd never seen it.
Goodbye Uncle Tom. They had, the blacks on the slave ship, and they showed this Native Indian woman. She had the braids and everything, and she just stuck,
Right.
And she just from the shock and the trauma of what was going on.
Right.
They put us on the slave ships together.
Right. Listen, anybody that tells you that Native Americans and Hispanics didn't go on slave ships, they don't know history. Number one is a liar. Number two, they don't know history. All right. Let's keep going with the story, because I know it's already 8:22 and I got so much more I want to get into that I'm not going to be able to.
Yeah. And the Indians grew increasingly suspicious and hostile.
Is that on now?
No, there's more.
Let's skip that one. Let's go. I think maybe try the next one. That's a good one too, but I'm trying to get into a little bit more of the other ones that are probably a little bit more well known.
Slave Revolts and Insurrections, page 104. The flood of ideas released by the American and French revolutions stirred slaves greatly.
Listen, and this is the point I wanted to bring out too. I kind of hit on it earlier, but the oppressor doesn't. This is how you know they have no compassion for black people. This is how you know they will never understand our plight, because they went through the same thing in the 1700s. They went through the same thing. They were being oppressed. They had to buy tea from England. They grow their own damn tea.
Right.
You know, they got tea leaves over here. They got slaves. You know, not saying it was good for us, but they had slaves. They do what they want. Why do they gotta buy their tea from the queen? They were being forced to do things they didn't want to do. And guess what they did? They revolted. They sought violence. You understand? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans should have that same spirit, not with the violence, but the same spirit of being tired of being oppressed. You should be tired of looking at the rich and wealthy in this country bow down for the oppressors. Like you get rich people, rich Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and the only thing they want you to do is just get along so they can just keep making their millions and billions and be happy. They don't want you to rock the boat because they know they're gonna have to come down. It's just like the Pharisees. You find that in the scriptures too. The Pharisees, and I'm paraphrasing, it was like, yo, if he keeps going, people gonna follow after him and we're gonna lose our seat. That's in the scriptures. You see that same thing today where the rich of our leadership, they don't want to lose their seat. They don't want to lose their seat with Caesar. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. When the Haitian Revolution began, Toussaint was an obscure carriage driver on the Breda plantation in the northern province of Haiti.
All right, because of time's sake, I'm gonna let you run through some of these, and then we'll see if we get some of the scriptures later. But I kind of want to get a little bit more history at this point. Go ahead.
God. He had lived the life of a slave, had married, sired children, and gained some local fame from his skill in mixing herb potions. A devout Roman Catholic, he was literate in French and could roll out a few Latin phrases.
I gotta get this scripture real quick. That's next to that, and then I'm gonna try to let you read some more. But I gotta get this scripture.
Deuteronomy 28:64. You want it now?
Yeah, I take it.
Deuteronomy 28:64. If I could, they got like a whole riot gathering thing going on
downtown
in Indy. Now where they killed that brother, it's like 100 black people outside and like 50 cops.
Damn.
They just like doing a standoff. Somebody's going live with it. We got like 20,000 people watching this live video.
Damn.
What's going down right now in the city? Like Deuteronomy 28:64. And the Lord and the Most High shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other.
Right.
And there thou shalt serve other gods.
Listen, why did Toussaint Overture, why was he a devout Catholic? Right? This is another curse from the Lord. Like the Lord said, you don't want to serve me, fine. You're gonna go into captivity and you're gonna serve other guys. Go ahead.
Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Even wood and stone, wood being that Christian cross. Catholics, they carry too. It's all Christianity, right? Catholics, they carry that crucifix, right? Which is not even, if you think about a crucifix, there's nothing special about it. Christ wasn't the only one crucified on a crucifix. You understand? The Romans put to death, probably millions of people. In fact, they had a whole miles worth of people lined up on crucifixes on the way to Rome to deter anybody from messing with them. So being crucified on a Christian cross is nothing more than a way that Christ was put to death. It has no significance, no bearing on anything religious or anything that's going to put you closer to God. So the Most High said you're going to serve that, and he also said you was going to serve stone, which would be the cobblestone, what Muslims bow down to. They kiss, they say, it came from heaven and some angel brought it or some other nonsense. It's all garbage. The Most High prophesied that, said you was going to serve that garbage, man. All right, you could drop that. Let's get back to the story real quick.
Yeah. He was, it seems, a model slave. His master trusted him implicitly and had given him a succession of important jobs. Now, in the autumn of his life, Toussaint drove his master's carriage, sitting barefoot on the box, smiling and bowing at the proper times.
Listen, what do the Bible say? Be at peace with thine adversary.
Right.
When you in captivity, that's what we tell brothers. Like when brothers first learn this truth, they want to get in. You want to be so, rah. You gotta be wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove. Not to say that you should ever bow down and not tell anybody you're an Israelite, but don't go in there calling your boss saying the white man's the devil. Don't do that. Right? You're in captivity. You want to get to slavery. You want to make your money. You want to go home. That's it. Right. If somebody off the clock want to ask you about the truth, or somebody you're in a private situation with somebody you trust, and you can't trust all jakes on your job because they be like, yeah, he's talking religion to me on a slave, he get you fired. Right. You know what I'm saying? You off the clock, you talking to somebody they want to know more about it, cool. Other than that, man, you do your job, you go home, and that's it. You come back, study the word, get in classes. Be wise as a serpent, man. Don't go to your slave, you new to this truth. The first thing you want to do is call your boss the devil and walk off the job. Then you call in the school a month later saying you can't pay your rent. That ain't wisdom, Mark. That's not wisdom. Go ahead.
He was almost 50, and it seemed that his life was almost over. Yet in a few years, this gray-haired carriage driver electrified the world and sent shivers down the backs of American slaveholders. He defeated the English and Spanish armies, unified Haiti, and held his own in slippery maneuvering with the wily Napoleon.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Was you gonna say something?
They said what I read. It said that the army was so well organized that it changed, like, the way that armies organized all over the earth from what he did.
We about to get it. Is a piece in there? We gonna get it.
Page 107. Perhaps the most outstanding accomplishment of Toussaint's reign was the integration of the white minority into the life of the country.
Now, I highlighted this part, right? But it was more of a lesson. It's because, and what scripture I got there?
Ecclesiasticus 12:10.
Okay, so this was the breakdown, basically. Okay, he thought it was wise to integrate the minority of the oppressors there, which is never a wise thing. And Ecclesiasticus 12:10 says, never trust thine enemy. Right? Because one thing we got to understand as a people, who our enemy is. Like, it's not just the one guy who rode down the street, him and his son in a truck with guns and shot the black man. Just them. That's what a lot of black people try to do. They say, well, it was just him. He was a racist and he didn't like black people. Okay, so what about the DA that's going to let him off? What about the lawyer that's representing him? What about the judge that's making the decision? What about the cops that haven't arrested him? Have you thought about any of that, dumbass? They're all in it together.
Right.
There's none of them that can be trusted. You can't trust the bailiff. You can't trust the guard who opened the door at the courthouse. You can't trust the janitor who sweeps the floors. You can't trust none of them. They're all confederate against you. Nobody is going to show you the love that you need but your own people. That's why you got to try to love your people. You got to learn to love your people, man. You got to come together. Listen, come to the I.S.U.P.K. We'll show you how to do it. We'll show you how to do it, man. We teach you brotherhood and sisterhood. If you will follow your orders, you will love your people like never before. You will understand what love is. Love is an action. Love is not some feeling that you get where you want to float on the sky. That's not it. Love is an action. Love, in short, is keeping the commandments. That's love.
Right.
And it's commandments around how you are to interact with your brothers and sisters. That's what you're gonna learn up in here, man. But guess what? He thought it was wise to integrate them. And I just wanted to share that scripture. I'm not gonna get all the scriptures because I'm trying to get a little bit more history for time run out. So if you keep going.
Yeah. He had a way with whites. Races, General Vincent said, melt beneath his hand. Feeling that the country needed the technical know-how of the whites, Toussaint went out of his way to quiet their fears.
Right. So I have another scripture here. We're gonna bypass it just so you get some more. But we don't need other nations. We never needed other nations. In fact, in the scriptures, the Lord say, if you would serve him, he would put you on high above all nations. You would need no technical know-how from nobody. The Lord would provide everything you needed. We don't need the oppressors. We don't need the Chinese. We don't need the Japanese, even though they make some outstanding electronic devices. So, like, we don't need none of them. You understand? We got to learn to depend on each other, which is something heavy that Commander GEN.YAHANNA has been saying here lately. If you own a black business, just hold on to that business, because pretty soon, black people, we're going to have to deal with each other. You're not going to be able to run up in Walmart and get everything you need. You're not. This country is not going to be standing the way that you see it today. This is the downfall has already began. You think you ain't got no toilet paper, a couple of weeks ago? Just wait. If you're not prepared, if you're not down in this truth, you're gonna be wiping your behind with some straw. You're gonna go get a pile of grass and wipe your behind. You better get down with your brothers because we're gonna show you the way.
All right.
Go ahead.
Napoleon did not think highly of men with dark skins.
Listen, and this is such the spirit of America, of any oppressor, and no matter what country he's in, whether he's in Europe, whether he's in Australia, whether he's in Germany, whether he's in the United States, whether he's in Canada, South America, this is their spirit. They don't think highly of you niggas.
All right.
They don't. Go ahead.
I will not leave an applet, he said, upon the shoulders of a single black.
So this is Napoleon. This is during the Haitian Revolution, and he's finally at the war. Like he's defeated. It said he defeated the Spanish, and he defeated the somebody else. I forgot. But now he's dealing with Napoleon, right? And so this, I had to look up that. What was that word again?
Epaulet.
And that's basically one of those things that you wear on a military uniform, kind of for design. You'll see them; they like big ass shoulder pads,
Right.
and they kind of signify rank. And he's like, I'm not gonna leave not one of them on one nigga. I can't stand it. I don't like to see him wear it because as you read this story in here, it talks about. Also, Tarot brought it up. He was so well. Toussaint was so well respected by his man, and he was so even respected by his enemy because he was like a military genius. So much so that it infuriated Napoleon. Now, Napoleon damn near ruled, half the known world or something at that time. He was like, a miraculous, general and, tactician when it came to things of war. So he was stumped by Toussaint. You know what I'm saying? Some niggas down on the island that was a slave. The book said he was a carriage driver. He rose up in power and authority and led his people, led a revolt. And he made mistakes along the way, obviously. But this is just something to put in the spirit of you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to know that, listen, the Lord not even requiring you to do that. He's not requiring you to pick up no guns. All he requiring you to do, man, is to put the pork down. Put the pork down. Don't go to church on Sunday. Get out of the Christian church. You know what I mean? Stop sleeping with women. Women, stop aborting your baby. Stop being a homosexual. All these things. Just stop that, man, and you won't even have to pick up a gun. You won't even have to buy one bullet. All you got to do is serve the Lord, man. All this thing is already taken care of for you, if you would serve him. Go ahead.
Napoleon had dreams of a vast empire in the Western Hemisphere.
Right.
He needed Haiti and slave labor to complete the plans he had for the Louisiana Territory.
Read that again.
He needed slave labor to complete the plans he had for the Louisiana Territory.
You are a fool if you don't think America needs you. If you look, perfect example. Look at Issachar. Look at the tribe of Issachar, the so-called Mexicans. Look at them and what they've been doing in the agriculture industry. Look at what they've been doing, like with your fruits and your vegetables. And just imagine them not ever being, hired over here. And you trying to get niggas to go out there. Niggas is not doing that. Niggas is tired. Listen, I mean, obviously, if it came down to it, and we couldn't do nothing else. But you work at McDonald's, and that's already miserable. You in the air condition. Imagine being out in that hot field picking strawberries and everything else. Issachar is out there putting in that work, and that's why you can get your fruits and vegetables for so cheap. This economy, this world needs the children of Israel. They need it because they can thrive off the cheap labor that they get from us. They need us because they can abuse us and build up their empire the same way America did. America is only a superpower because they had so many years of free labor. And the only reason they ended slavery probably was because the South was getting too powerful and the North knew that they would be in subjection to the South, right? The South was like, man, you know what? We just be our own damn nation. It'll be two nations on this continent. Right. I mean, on this portion of the continent. They didn't give a damn. The South wasn't playing. It's like, we keeping these slaves and we willing to die for it. That's how much they hated you. That's how much they know they needed blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in captivity. And still today, they know they need you to be docile. They need you to be in subjection. That's why they do everything that they possibly can to keep you in subjection. They murder you in the streets to let you know you better not lip. Don't even lip off to me. Don't even look like you want to say something, because I'm going to beat you in the face and I'm gonna arrest you, and there's nothing going to happen to you. And and the average citizen can just get in the truck, take their guns, chase you for miles, and shoot you dead in the streets and get off. And the cops don't even charge them. It's been 3 months of that story you brought up earlier, and they ain't been charged yet. This is America. That's what you know. The song "This Is America" is what he should have put in there. He should have put in there stuff like this. He was putting in a whole bunch of nonsense. He should have had white people killing black people. That should have been the imagery that they should have saw on that video. Right. This is America. Let's keep going.
Toussaint was a devout Roman Catholic, but it seems that his faith weakened near the end. His nephew is authority for the story that the deposed general walked up to an altar in a village church and denounced it.
Most High in Christ. That's all I can say to that. Is Most High in Christ. He saw that he was serving some BS. Go ahead.
You are the God of the white man.
What? Read it again.
You are the God of the white man.
Listen, it's doing the what this was doing the what, the 1600s, I think.
Right. I think so.
No, this is probably 1700s. This was 1700s. In the 1700s, you got a nigga down in Haiti. He was like, man, I can't follow Catholicism anymore. You the God of white people. And still today, you got blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans serving Catholicism. Right. You gonna go sip that cup after everybody? You nasty anyway. Get out of that. You know what I mean? Everybody in authority is white in the Catholic Church. You got very few you got some, here and there. You got like a black archbishop. You got, a Spanish archbishop, but most of them is white.
Right.
Go ahead.
And they only there just to put on the image of equality.
Right.
Right. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. So, even him at that time, he realized that, and that's what you should realize, so much so now with Christianity. That's Caesar Borgia, man. How is the so-called Jewish man the chosen people of the Lord? That's what I like to know. You actually feed into that. Anyway, I'm sorry, Byron. Go ahead.
You are the God of the white man, not the God of the Negroes. Mm-hmm. You have betrayed men,
right,
and deserted me. You have no pity for my race. He then hurled a marble crucifix to the floor.
Right. I thought that was dope. That's part of it. It's obvious with the time running out. I'm not gonna get to is Nat Turner, is Denmark Vesey, however you pronounce his name, Vesey, and a few other people in there with incredible stories, for sure. If I get that book. So if you hadn't got this book, get this, Before Mayflower: A History of the Negro in America, 1962. It tells about some of the more popular slave revolts, for sure. I wanted to get to more, but I was running my mouth to lock it. But maybe one day I'll talk about the other slave revolts in this in the rest of this, because the one about Nat Turner, obviously you've seen the Nat Turner movie, but Denmark Vesey is a good one too. So maybe I'll come next week and at least spend part of the class and talk about his slave revolt in there. So basically, with just to finish up with Haiti, Toussaint Overture, he led them in revolution. Basically, he defeated Napoleon. Napoleon ended up, losing his taste for war with them. And also after that, he sold the Louisiana Purchase to America. And so that's how we got the Louisiana Purchase, which is, damn near most of the physical, not the population wise, but physically, most of the country. So that was a nigga who was a slave, who was a carriage driver. He ended up, for whatever reason, he accepted an invite for Napoleon and traveled to see Napoleon, and Napoleon ended up catching him and putting him in jail, and he was executed. But his subordinate ended up taking over and immediately and ultimately expelling France all the way out. And he was the next in charge, and so he finished the job that Overture couldn't do, because he went and trusted again. Ecclesiasticus 12:10, never trust your enemies. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'll take a question or two, if it's any, before we close it out. Man, that went fast as hell. I thought I was gonna get through a lot more. I didn't get through nothing.
There was a comment and no other question. If you want the comment.
Yeah, I'll take the comment.
Rakina Kraft said it was in the movie Squanto about the Native Indian man shipped over to a white land and made to work like a slave. It's a true story.
Squanto. Okay, we're gonna have to look up the history on that for sure. You got
I heard about that. That it's supposed to be the Gadite. That just like what you was just mentioning earlier. That was how Gadites were taken from America and brought over to Europe.
Yeah.
What it was started Squanto. He was supposed to be a dude that was on 2 slave ship rides. One coming from here to America, from here in America, going over to Europe.
Yep.
And he wanted to get back to his family. He boarded another slave ship going from Europe to America. This was slaves was like dope.
Oh, listen.
You know what I'm saying?
What's the company that was started off of slaves? Was it not JP Morgan?
Man, a lot of they was too.
Was it JP Morgan?
Yeah, all of them.
Listen, most of them banking in the huge banking industry, they have roots all the way back to slavery. They financed the ships, they financed the voyages. They did a lot of things to support the buying of those the buying of slaves through, purchasing ships or buying ships or supplies or whatever. So that's how they started, not just with the cotton, with actual slaves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you got it.
We'll make the insurance company.
Insurance too. I remember insurance too. They're another one that they were huge proponents of, paying for slaveries and insuring the ships, and slaves went overboard and they got, X amount of dollars for them. So that's crazy. Listen, it's the more we uncover history, the more disgusting it looks for this society, man. Here's the good news, Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, woman, and child. The Lord will get you out of this captivity. The Lord will redeem you. The Lord will make things right on this earth. He will put you in a seat of rulership if only you would obey. Come into the school, man. Pay your tithes to the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge. Come to our classes all the time. Definitely tune into this class because we're going to drop it heavy. Tune into any class in the I.S.U.P.K, man. You're going to learn the truth. Ask your questions. Come in here, man. Change your life and serve the Lord. All right. And with that, was it one question? One more. I just seen a brother posted something real quick.
Yep. Salaki, sir. The United States this is by Sabian Birdman. The United States was originally known as the Virginia Company of London and was a slave business.
I'm going to have to look up that history. Virginia Company of London, Most High in Christ. Look, we getting all kind of little history out here today. That's what's up. I'm going to have to look that up for sure. So, all right, with that, I'm going to pass the class over to Kabash.
I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priest. Not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Passover. Stick close to your camp leaders when it seems like they're talking about opening everything back up. Things are slowly opening back up. Passover could be coming up soon. Stick with your camp leaders to get the updated information when will Passover be. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black. Boots, pants, headband, scarf. With that, Amajim, which means to stand. Wapanya Hakwadam, which means rise and face the east. You're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Kodash.
Kodash.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Shimka.
Shimka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malakutka.
Malakuka.
Taba'a.
Taba'a.
Ratazaka.
Ratazaka.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Baharataza.
Barataza.
Kawa.
Kawa.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Bashamayim.
Bashamayim.
Nathanawa.
Nathanawa.
Lakam.
Lakam.
Kal.
Kal.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Wasalak Nawa.
Wasalak now.
Kawabwafi Nawa.
Kawafi now.
Kasalak Nawa.
Kasalak now.
Kawabwafi Nawa.
Kawafi now.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Tabiya Nawa.
Tabiya now.
Banasai one.
Banasai one.
Abal.
Abal.
Hawashai Nawa.
Hawashai now.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Rad.
Rad.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Hamalakwa.
Hamalakwa.
Waha'ala.
Wa'ala.
Wahatapara.
Wa'atapara.
La'awalamya.
Wa'awalamya.
Aman.
Aman.
Our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done
thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts
and forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
Thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it.
Prayer for the cock, the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bahashim Yahawashi,
Ba'ashim Yahushua,
Baba Kwasha,
Baba Kusha,
Nathan Lanawa,
Nathanawa,
Hakak,
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 Larapa'a,
Larapa'a,
Kalmakala,
Kalmakala,
Wakal Marawa,
Wakal Marwa,
Hakak,
Hakak,
Latahor,
Latahar,
Amatazarayim,
Amatazrayim,
Hakak,
Hakak,
Lahakwim,
Lahak,
Amathium,
Amathi,
Hakak,
Hakak,
Arakawaf,
Arkarwa,
Latama'ala,
Atama'ala,
Lagarshan,
Lagarshan,
Bahashim Yahawashi,
Ba'ashim Yahushua,
the water Amat,
the water Aman,
in English. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of
in
Yahawashi,
the name of Yahushua,
please give us the power,
please give us the
the power to heal
power to heal
all manner of sickness
all manner of sickness,
and all manner of disease,
and all manner of disease,
the power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to cleanse the leper,
the power to raise the dead,
the power to raise the dead,
the power against unclean spirits,
the power against unclean spirits,
to cast them out,
to cast them out.
in the name of Yahawashi.
In the name of Yahushua,
Thank you.
thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Prayer for the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahawashi.
Yahushua.
Wa Miyaka Allah.
Wa Miyaka Allah.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Batazabiyah.
Tazabiyah.
Alawap Yahanna.
Alawapiyah.
Ha Alawapya.
Alawapiyah.
Ha Saranya.
Asaranya.
Ha Kwatzayanya.
Akwaziyayu.
Ha Kayayaya.
Akayayayu.
Wa Hakwatya.
Akwati.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashim Yahushua.
Ba'ashim
The
Yahushua.
water Aman.
The water Aman.
In English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahawashi.
And Yahushua.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yohanna.
Commanding Yohanna.
The generals.
The generals.
The captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahawashi.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
The anointing prayer in the Hebrew. Yabaraka Yahweh.
Yabaraka Yahweh.
Waya Shamarka.
Waya Shamarka.
Yahweh Yahweh.
Yahweh Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Ayaka.
Ayaka.
Waya Kanka.
Waya Kanka.
Yasha.
Yasha.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hanyawa.
Panyawa.
Ayaka.
Ayaka.
Waya Shamlaka.
Waya Shamlaka.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashim Yahushua.
Ba'ashim Yahushua.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapah.
Rapah.
Magan.
Magan.
Hagan.
Hagan.
Any loved ones? Anybody want to pray for?
All destroyed of Israel.
All destroyed of Israel.
Done.
All of destroyed of Israel.
All destroyed of Israel.
Done.
The Hill family.
The
Hill
Hill
family.
The Thurman family.
Thurman
The
family.
Sutton family.
The Sutton
And
family.
all destroyed of Israel.
All destroyed of Israel.
Ba'ashim Yahushua.
Ba'ashim
The
Yahushua.
water Aman.
The water Aman.
What we said in the English was Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bless thee and keep thee.
Bless thee and keep thee.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Make his face shine upon thee.
Make his face shine upon thee.
And be gracious unto thee.
And be gracious unto thee.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Lift up his countenance upon thee.
Lift up his countenance upon thee.
And give thee peace.
And give thee peace.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Shield.
Shield.
Protect.
Protect.
Names of lovers we just named.
Names of lovers we just named.
I.S.U.P.K curses in the English. Blessed art you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of
In
Yahushua.
the name of Yahushua.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Saying he was in curses.
That he was in curse.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To all, wait. to the heathen
to the heathen
that speak against us,
that speak against us,
thy prophets,
thy prophets,
the teachers,
the teachers,
the princes,
the princes,
the priests,
the priests,
the Israelite brothers,
the Israelite brothers,
and the schools,
and the schools,
send evils and curses,
and evils and curses,
and punishment and destruction
punishment and destruction
to the heathen,
to the heathen,
and shake loose
Shake loose
the treasure
the treasure
of the rich of Israel
of the rich of Israel
that refuse to give to the school,
that refuse to give to the school,
force their riches,
force their riches,
to enter to thy sanctuary,
into thy sanctuary,
send evils and curses,
send evils and curses,
and punishment and destruction
and punishment and destruction
to the Edomites,
to the Edomites
and the nations,
and the nations
and their drug dealers,
and their drug
the
dealers,
court system,
the court
the
system,
prison system,
the prison system,
the Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood,
all the governments of our enemies,
all the governments of our enemies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic Church,
the Pope,
the Pope,
Islam,
Islam,
Christianity,
Christianity,
Egyptology,
Egyptology,
militia,
militia,
Ku Klux Klan,
Ku Klux Klan,
Aryan Nation,
Aryan Nation,
skinheads,
Skinheads,
Posse Comitazi,
Bicycle
the
Matazzi,
gay movement,
the gay movement,
lesbian movement,
lesbian movement,
spies,
spies,
workers of witchcraft,
workers of witchcraft,
NASA space program,
NASA space program,
Army,
Army,
Navy,
Navy,
Air Force,
Marines,
Wall Street,
Wall Street,
open up the internet,
open up the internet,
and the airwaves,
and the airways,
cable access channels,
cable access channel,
and the radio channels,
and the radio channel,
convict the spirit
convict the spirit
of any of thy people
of any of thy people
that seek to stop
that
us
seek to stop us
and bring swift destruction
and bring swift destruction
to all the heathen
to all the heathen
that stand in the way
that stand in the way
or try to stop us
try to stop us
from broadcasting your
from
words
broadcasting your words
throughout the planet Earth.
throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the plagues.
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 Cause them to go
Cause them to go
to and fro
to and fro
through the earth
through the earth
and consume them
and consume
and
them
consume them
and consume them
and consume them.
and consume them.
Let the plagues
Let the plagues
shake the house of the thief
shake the house of the thief
and the murderer.
and the murderer.
Let Yahweh shine.
Let Yahweh shine.
Michael and Gabriel
Michael and Gabriel
come down
come
Come
down
down
with the flying saucers
with the flying saucers
and punish all the heathen
and punish all the heathens
that come up against us
that come up against
as
us
we speak thy word.
as we speak thy word.
Cause to be known
Cause to be known
by all
by all
that it is the angels that have done
that
it.
it is the angels that have done it.
Cause to be spread
Cause to be spread
through the media,
through the media
throughout the whole
throughout
world.
the whole world.
Cause them to shake at that coming.
Cause them to shake that coming.
In the name of Yahweh shine.
In the name of Yahweh.
Thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
So turn, face the teacher. We're gonna give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Amam Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Barakatam,
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Barakatam.
Yazmatah. Sorry, we're gonna turn, face the sisters, give a courtesy salute to the sisters that could be that are watching online. Men of Israel, Amam Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shema Ba'Shem Yahushua. Yazmatah. Class dismissed.